Hey there, how's it going? Today I'm going to be having a really good look at the Supersource feature of the Blackmagic ATEM Extreme. This is a feature that allows you to display up to 4 inputs on screen at once, and I'll be showing you what you can do with it, how you can set it up, and how to get the most out of it. Before the ATEM Mini and ATEM Mini Extreme, Supersource was a feature that was only found on the top level of Blackmagic switches and other ATEMs. Now they've given it to us in the ATEM Mini Extreme and ATEM Mini Extreme ISO. As I said, basically it allows you to show up to 4 inputs on screen at once. You can resize these, reposition them, crop them and move them around so they're displayed exactly where you want them to be on screen. You can also add custom artwork as foreground and background layers and really make your presentations incredibly professional looking. You can create layouts with 2, 3 or 4 boxes, split screens, all sorts of really neat things with a background and also some sort of overlay, and these can be useful for a huge number of different situations. So maybe, for example, you're interviewing somebody and you want to have both of you on screen at the same time and some sort of presentation running or a monitor display, or you could be running a gaming channel of some sort and you want to show yourself on one screen, the actual gameplay in another space, and maybe a shot of your keyboard and mouse or some sort of other utility. Another thing is maybe you're running a live stream channel and you want to be able to bring up a guest or two at the same time, as well as something on the screen that you're talking about, whether it be a presentation or a web page. There are an endless number of situations where this can be really useful and you can have it looking really professional. So let's have a look at how to set this thing up. I've already loaded 4 cameras into my ATEM Mini Extreme, so we've got those ready to go, and I've got the ATEM software control application open so that we can set up the Supersource stuff on that and show you how we use that to bring the Supersource on air and do a few other things through the software control. There's a physical Supersource button right down here on the ATEM Mini Extreme itself, and if you click on that, then it brings the Supersource on air. You can also click on the button here in the ATEM software control and that does the same thing. So as you can see here, I've got 4 videos running into my Supersource layout, and I've got a media player set up to run one of the backgrounds. You're probably going to want to have the Supersource on air while you're working on it and making adjustments so you can check that things are in exactly the right place. You can also edit the multi-view layout on your ATEM so that you can see the Supersource while it's off air as well. You can do that by clicking here on the settings button in the ATEM software control, that's just down here. And then I'm going to replace one of the media players, probably 7 or 8 is the easiest to use, and click on the drop down menu and select Supersource as the video source for that pane in the multi-view. Then you can just hit done and you've got a live preview on the multi-view of what your Supersource is at the moment. Anyway, let's have a good look at setting this thing up. The first thing to do is head into the ATEM software control and over to the palettes on the side. Make sure you've clicked palettes in the tabs at the top. And then if you click on Supersource to expand that, you'll see some default layouts there. If you click on each of these 4 default layouts, you'll see that it rearranges the panes in the Supersource window that we're looking at in the multi-view here. I'm going to click on the second one here because that's got the 4 layouts with different sizes, and I'm going to move some of these around, and you can select which video source is displayed in each box. So that can be any of the cameras you've got plugged in. It doesn't have to be one of the 8 video sources that you have in the multi-view. So for example, where I've got camera 4 here now, I can choose to change that and put color bars in. This is actually a good trick if you want to identify exactly which box is which when you're manipulating them as well, because it can be a bit tricky figuring that out. You can change the size of the box very easily just by clicking here and increasing or decreasing the physical size of it. I'm going to set that to 0.35 just because I feel like it. I'm going to go to box 3, which is the other small box, and I'll set that to 0.35 and make it a little bit bigger as well. And then I'm going to select the box up in the opposite corner, which is box 3. That's got camera 3 in it, and I'm going to make that 0.35 as well, so they're the same size. Sometimes you might want to just create 3 smaller boxes down one side and a big box on the other side. which looks a bit like this. And that's really useful if you've got interviews or a panel of people talking. As you can see, it's really unlimited in what you can do. I've got a background image on this one at the moment, which is just an Assassin's Creed layout that I've been using for my gaming channel. But I can change this now and put something else in the media player. So in the software control, I can just click here and open up the media library, and I can move another one of these images into still one. And as you can see here in the multi-view, it's updated the background image of that straight away. So you can do all sorts of really neat stuff here. You don't have to have a static image in the background. If you click on the Art tab here, you can see it's got the fill source with Media Player 1, which is the one that we just dropped that new image into. But what I could do is make that one of the other cameras. I can have any video source coming into one of the other HDMI feeds, and I can have that as a background. So you could be playing a video in the background, or maybe have a laptop plugged in there and be showing someone's YouTube page, or just another laptop screen for doing demonstrations or teaching software. There's all sorts of amazing things you can do with this, and it's incredibly flexible. Another option is to place the art in the foreground instead of the background. If you do this, then you can choose a PNG graphic, for example, that has a transparent index in it, and you can create graphical frames that surround things. This is another way that you can make your entire layout far more dynamic and really edgy, and do some really clever graphic effects. You can also use a piece of video in the foreground to have an animated overlay, and have some green screen boxes that you can then chroma key out to see the video sources you have in your layout. Now let's say you have a custom layout that you want to reuse that's not one of the default ones, because let's face it, the default ones aren't very exciting and not fit for all purposes. What you can do is you can create a custom layout like I've got here, and then in the ATEM software control you can go File, choose Save As, choose a file name, click Save, and then you can deselect all of the boxes there except for the Supersource selection, and then what that will do is it will save the Supersource XML for you. Then next time you reload the ATEM software control and you want to use that layout, you can just go to the File menu again and choose Restore, and then you can select that XML file and it will restore the XML in there. If you've only saved the Supersource, then it's only going to load that Supersource XML, and if you come back and have a look now, you should see that it's restored the parameters for the boxes you've chosen back to what it was when you saved it. If you want to get real clever, now you can go to that XML file that you just saved, and you can open it up using TextEdit or Notepad if you're on a PC, and edit the contents of that XML file to fine-tune it. You can even copy that XML file and make other versions that have got different layouts in. So basically you can create a whole pile of different layouts for different types of videos that you do, and restore these as you want and have exactly the layouts you want each time. So there you have it, Supersource in a nutshell. As you can see, it's actually really easy to use, even though it can look quite scary before you get to it. It looks like it's going to be a lot more complicated than it really needs to be. You can come up with some really amazing dynamic stuff for your videos and make what you're doing look so much better online, and get a much better response back from your audience. So get in there, have a play around, create some awesome layouts with backgrounds or foregrounds, save them, edit those text files, see what you can learn from that. That's a really easy thing to do, to edit that XML, and you can restore those and have a library of really cool layouts for your videos. And if you've got any questions, please do put them into the comment section down below. I read as many of those as I can, and also click here to subscribe, watch this video and this video, and I will see you in another video really soon. Have a great day.